This is Tiger. This is kind of his debut on on a video. Uh, he's the youngest and strongest and healthiest of the cats. But, well, anyway, this is probably going to be the last video that I dedicate to the Alps, Switzerland, and compare to Roaring Spring. And the city is Geneva. Geneva is a city, and being a city, I am not drawn to it. I've never stayed overnight there. I've traveled, landed in the airport quite a few times, and I've rented a car there a couple times to get into the Alps. But I may be underappreciated. I mean, there's lots of reasons to appreciate it. I mean, it's Protestantism and the history of that, and the cemetery, and then Roaring Spring with its many different kind of churches. You could compare it that way if you want, but I want to. It's that jet d'eau, that fountain that squirts water 500 feet up in the air. That I want to mention that, and the other thing, I don't think I appreciated how important Geneva was industrially. It's right at the outlet of Lake Geneva, Lake Le Mans, and there was a weir, and drove the power, the machinery before there was electricity available to the watch industry, to a lot of industry right there in Geneva, and I don't think I had appreciated that. I didn't take long enough in the city to go on into the river or onto the river and look at the remains, what they've done with what's left of that industrial site. Industry mostly moved away from the river a little bit, and it was powered by other things, electricity mostly. But see, that's something to compare. Matter of fact, maybe I'll start right there. Now, let me say about the jet d'eau. That water spout, which is so high and so powerful and famous, it had a function originally. It was important because when the hydraulic system was used for that industrial site, at the end of the day, when they'd shut the engines down or the machines down and stuff, there had to be a place to let the pressure off. It was a pressure release valve. And I think at that time, there was a lot of pressure, but they had to have it because you couldn't just shut that down. Something had to be done with all that pressure, and so it squirted up. At that point, I think it was about 100 feet high. It would shoot the water. But then, as technology changed, things weren't being driven in the same way, and but they kept the jet of water because it was a tourist attraction, and they gradually they drove the jet now with electric motors, and they do to this day, a tremendously strong motors. I mean, it shoots that up 500 feet. So many tons of water are kept in the air at any given moment, and you can walk on a pier out to it, and of course you get rained on, which is all kind of fun, I think, for the tourists and stuff. I've done that, but in a way I disapprove, because that's such a waste of energy in a way to drive something like that. When it was necessary as a release valve, sure, but after that, and it's been doing that for I don't know, getting on 100 years. They shut it off sometimes, but not necessarily. Well, what's that have to do with Roaring Spring? Lots, because that spring dam. It only recently dawned on me that the Blank Book Factory must have originally been water powered. It must have been. And you can see where the water went among the buildings. I used to think that was where a train came up through to get the products. No, that was where the water went its way out. Now, what kind of a wheel or turbine? Wheel, probably, was originally in there driving it. The building burnt down once or twice. But that first building was, I don't know, 1880, maybe somewhere back around that time. That was water powered. And that kind of changed my thinking about what could be done with the blank book factory now that it's virtually empty. But back to the jet of water. In 1931, I think it was, Roaring Spring, the Rotary Club of Roaring Spring built a fountain in the middle of the spring dam. And it's electrically driven with motors, and it pumps it and sprays water up into the air, and they have lights shining from different ways. It's quite an attraction of the city. But once again, this could easily offend some Roaring Springers. I think I disapprove of that, because I think they probably did it in imitation of Geneva, because that fountain in Geneva is so famous, and here Roaring Spring has its own jet d'eau, jet of water, like Geneva then, electrically pump driven. But I don't think that there was ever a hydraulic system within the blank book factory that required a place for the, I'm almost certain, by 1931 technology was different. But you see, it's comparable. And I don't mean to say that fountain shouldn't be there. I just say two ways that I see Geneva and Roaring Spring comparable is the industrial complex made possible by the waterworks originally, and the fountains. Bye for now.